there's so many people. We're all going through this life, and I have been there. Trying, life is hard and depressing and hurts. It's painful, and most people don't care about you. The world is a harsh place. And if there is no God, honestly, if there's no meaning to the world, no purpose, like, why are we even living? Like, we can eke out a little meaning for ourselves for short periods of time, or make ourselves feel better with substances or relationships, but that's really short-lived. There's a lot of hurting people around us in the world, and I want to be able to communicate either to believers, encourage them that this is a reasonable faith, and share it, don't hoard it, and to unbelievers, follow Jesus. Don't do what I did, but follow me now. Don't go the long way around.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you what advice you would give to Christians on how to engage with atheists.
Well, I would say whether it's an atheist or anybody, really, keep in mind that when Jesus was asked, what's the most important commandment, he said to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. So I think we start with that. We start with loving God, seeking his face, and then we love our neighbor. Now, who's our neighbor? It's everybody else. But we have to remember to not treat people like projects. People are complicated people. And have you ever had someone who's wanted to befriend you just to get you involved in multi-level marketing, just to sell you something, or just to get you in on something? You feel manipulated. So if you try and befriend someone because you want to get them to Jesus, you want to save their soul, it's very manipulative, and nobody wants to feel like they're being used. Do you care about me personally, or are you trying to earn points with God? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to engage with people so they can really know Christ, you have to really love your neighbor and form genuine friendships with them. And I think that's whether or not they come to Christ. I mean, God willing, that happens. But do you love them whether or not they come? Right? And along the lines of love, I would say we need to be like Jesus and not just love people who are in our own tribe. I think Christians can be really sometimes loving to each other, but anybody else who's on the outside, they're judgmental and backbitey and sometimes just downright hateful. And that pains me. And you know what? If we're just being good, following Jesus-y Christians on Sunday, and hypocritical, backbiting, hateful, judgmental people the rest of the week, well, when do you think other people, unbelievers, atheists, unbelievers, when do they see us? They don't see us for an hour on Sunday. They see us the rest of the week. And so actions speak louder than words, right? How we behave. We can't be like, I have absolute truth and you're an idiot, and be sort of arrogant like that. You don't want to alienate people by having that us versus them mentality. So I would say be like Jesus, eat and play with the sinners and outcasts. Yeah, I don't have kids, so it's easy for me to say this, but like, if you get invited to a party, and I mean, obviously age dependent, maybe an adult, say as an adult, you get invited to a party and it's by people who don't believe what you do, and you don't have anything in common, and there's a lot of drinking and they use foul language. Well, you know what? If Stan hadn't come to the nightclub, like, I wouldn't have found God. Maybe God's sending you to that party so you can spread a little sunshine. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying everyone's different. You have to sort of go with how you're led by God that way. So I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just saying, and we've talked about this recently, like listening, ask questions, don't lead with your own agenda. Like, you don't want to be pushy. Hi, I've got something to sell you. I went and took a tour of in Salt Lake City of Mormon temple grounds and whatnot. And they lead you on this tour. They're all very nice and loving. But by the end, it's like they're trying to close the deal. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sign on the dotted line. Do you believe the Book of Mormon? They're really trying to close the deal. And it was very pushy. Mm-hmm. And it's also, everybody will have different objections. Everybody will have different life experiences. And we've got to ask questions, because nobody ever asked me, the Christian girl who'd written me that letter, and people, nobody had ever asked me what I believe and what are my thoughts, what are my needs, right? They're just trying to push Christianity onto you. So, and the other thing I would say that I was really, really, really rubbed me the wrong way when I first became a believer was the use of Christianese, like saved and washed in the blood and blessed and fellowship and all these terminology that the world looks at you like you're nuts. Like, this is like cult language. I mean, this is normal language for us in the church, but it means something to us. And if you don't have the definitions, fellowship, like, what are you talking? Lord of the Rings? Is there a handshake? Is there washed in the blood? Like, bloodbath? What are we talking about here? You just want to use normal words, because otherwise it sounds freaky.
So when you were an atheist, if someone were to have had, bring up the topic, were there certain times in your life that were different than others? For example, you were closed in certain times of your life and that conversation would have gone nowhere, or maybe you would have insulted the person, or...
So many times. I insulted Stan, and I was at the time of being ready. I brushed him off a lot. But you know what? I know Greg uses the word gardening. When you're talking to people, you don't know what part you play. You may never see it till heaven. Like, you don't know, maybe you're the person who plants a seed, maybe you're the person who waters, maybe you're the person who's preparing the soil beforehand. Maybe you're the person who, as they go through their life, like, wow, there was that nice, kind, genuine person. So they're not all hypocrites. Do you know, maybe because all those things work together, and it's God who does the drawing, but using all these things. And so you're just faithful to do your part. And as long as we know it's not down to us, right? It's not us who saves someone. It's not us who converts someone. So yeah, there were times in my life where I was very resistant, but people shouldn't be like, oh, well, forget her. Because now looking back, I remember all those people. Oh, interestingly, years later, after I became a Christian, I, pre-internet, I'm not sure how I did this, searched out and found the son of that internet missionary couple in Japan and told him I came to faith. And on the inside of that Bible that I found in my fiction box, it said, it was his Bible. This son that I found, it said, our son has gone off to college in America, and he left this Bible here because it was a white cover, had a white leather cover. Maybe he thinks a white Bible is a girl. Maybe you're the girl God wants this Bible to be with. And I still have that Bible. The spine has fallen off, but so they were faithful. Like the little kid who's like not gonna crack a Bible and doesn't believe in God, they don't know that if I'd never found that guy, right, like 20 years later.
Yeah, that's true. So that Bible, later on, you did use it? You did read that Bible?
Well, it's King James, and I'm not a huge fan of King James. But I do have it right here. See, the spine's off, but it's totally, here's the spine. It's in the middle. It's right here. But where did she write? Joe Norton, Dixie Baptist Church, Pontiac, Michigan, 1971. So here, my dearest Anne, hope you like this Bible.
That's so sweet. And you didn't read that until later on?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I did as a kid, but I was 10,
Oh, that's right. You were 10, yeah.
So I would have been like, okay, someone's giving me a Bible. I'm sure my parents were like, great, someone's trying to convert our kid.
Out of curiosity, was it your mother that organized the Bible in that box, or was it you?
It was me.
Oh, you had. Okay. Interesting. So, how about words for atheists? Well, you kind of said, follow me now. Any other
Yeah,
words?
I would say, because you meet a lot of people, there's few people that I find that were kind of raised like a hardcore atheist, like actually do not believe in God. I think most people just don't know and don't think you can know whether there is a God. And then there's some people that were raised with some kind of faith, but they've had really bad experiences. So I would first say to people who have been burned by church, by religions, by Christianity, by Christians, by people of faith, I'm sorry. I am really sorry about that. We're fallible human beings, and I think the thing that Christianity says is that there is something beautiful about man, like we can aspire to things, but we are broken. We are desperately broken. And St. Augustine, Patty mentioned this the other day, St. Augustine, African theologian and philosopher, said, don't judge a philosophy by its abusers. So there will be hypocrites. It's unfortunate, but the only thing that's important is Jesus who he claimed to be, and is what he said true? His identity and his mission, his resurrection that proved it. He either is or he's not. If he is, that's a game changer, and it's worth investigating. If he is, it changes everything. If he's not, you don't have to worry about it. But I do challenge you, like the one thing that when I prayed, if you exist, speak now or forever hold your peace, it was audacious, but it was sincere. And the Bible says in Jeremiah 29:13, you will seek me and you will find me when you seek me with all your heart. And I know few things I can say guarantee, because God's not a genie, but you pray that, you seek God and ask for him to reveal himself to you, and he will, if you really are interested in seeking. So be open-minded. Like maybe you can know, and if you can, wouldn't you like to know? But I'm not saying God exists right now. I'm just saying, as a thought experiment, suppose God does exist. If he does, and he loves you and has a plan for you, wouldn't you like to know that? I mean, if he doesn't matter. But if he does, so it's worth investigating. I mean, life is short, eternity is long.